You got a raise. Congratulations. And almost without noticing, you just pushed your retirement further away. Not closer, further. That sounds backwards, even insulting, because a raise is supposed to be the good news, the thing that finally gets you ahead. But there is a quiet mechanism hiding inside the way most people handle a raise, and it is one of the most expensive traps in all of personal finance, precisely because it never once feels like a mistake. It feels like progress. It feels earned. So let me show you exactly how lifestyle creep steals your retirement and the strange double math that makes it so much worse than it looks. Start with what lifestyle creep actually is, because you are almost certainly doing it right now and it does not feel like anything at all. Lifestyle creep is simple. As your income rises, your spending quietly rises to match it. The raise becomes a slightly nicer apartment. The bonus becomes the upgraded car. The promotion becomes the better neighborhood, the newer phone, the habit of not checking the bill. None of it is reckless. Each step is a small, reasonable improvement you feel you have earned. But the result is that no matter how much more you make, the gap between what you earn and what you keep stays exactly the same or shrinks. You are running faster and standing in the same place. And the proof that this is not a low-income problem is hiding in the data. 36% of Americans who earn over $100,000 a year live paycheck to paycheck. Push higher, and 40% of households earning over $500,000 a year report the same thing. $500,000, and nothing left at the end of the month. These are not people who do not make enough. They are people whose lifestyle quietly expanded to swallow every raise they ever got. The income went up, and the financial security never came, because spending was always one step ahead. That is lifestyle creep, and almost nobody is immune to it. Now here is where it stops being a vague warning about spending and becomes a specific, brutal piece of math. Because lifestyle creep does not steal from your retirement once. It steals from it twice, at the same time, and the second theft is the one almost nobody sees coming. Let me walk you through both hits slowly, because once you see the second one you cannot unsee it. The first hit is the obvious one. Every dollar you absorb into your lifestyle is a dollar you did not invest. Say you get a raise that puts an extra $1,000 a month in your pocket, and like most people, you let it quietly become a nicer life. Over 25 years, invested instead at a normal 8% return, that $1,000 a month would have grown to about $950,000. So the first hit is already enormous. By spending the raise instead of investing it, you quietly walked away from nearly $1 million. But that is only half the damage, and honestly the smaller, more obvious half. Here is the second hit, the hidden one, and this is the part that makes lifestyle creep uniquely vicious. When you permanently raise your spending, you do not just lose the money you could have invested. You also raise the size of the retirement you now have to fund. There is a well-known rule for how much you need to retire. You need about 25 times your annual spending invested, because a safe withdrawal of roughly 4% of that pile covers your costs each year. So your retirement number is not a fixed target. It is a multiple of your lifestyle. Spend $40,000 a year, you need $1 million. Spend $70,000, you need $1.75 million. Spend $100,000, you need $2.5 million. The more you spend, the bigger the mountain you have to climb, and you reset the height of that mountain every single time you upgrade your life. So watch what $1,000 a month lifestyle increase actually does with both hits together. Hit 1. You lose the roughly $950,000 that money would have grown into. Hit 2, because you now permanently spend $12,000 more a year, your retirement target rises by 25 times that, $300,000. Add them up. A single, reasonable, earned $1,000 a month lifestyle bump quietly swings your retirement by around $1.25 million. It takes nearly $1 million off what you will have and adds $300,000 to what you need. The two hits move in opposite directions, and the gap between them is the retirement you just silently gave away for a nicer car you will forget you were ever excited about. So here is a question I would genuinely like you to answer in the comments. Think about the last real raise you got. Be honest. How much of it actually made it into investments, and how much of it just quietly became a slightly more expensive life? There is no judgment here. Almost everyone answers the same way. But naming it is the first time the pattern becomes visible enough to interrupt. Now let me show you why this trap is so uniquely effective, because understanding why it works is how you finally beat it. Lifestyle creep is dangerous for 3 reasons at once. First, it is invisible. It never arrives as a single decision you could question, just a slow drift of small upgrades, so there is no moment where alarm bells go off. Second, it feels deserved. You earn the raise, so spending it feels like the reward, not the trap. And third, the cruelest part, it works against you from both ends at the same time, shrinking what you save while inflating what you need. Most financial mistakes only hurt you in one direction. This one quietly pulls the rope from both sides, which is exactly why people who earn more and more can still arrive at 55 with almost nothing and no idea how. And notice the truly strange thing this reveals. Your retirement does not actually depend on how much you earn. It depends on the gap between what you earn and what you let yourself spend. Two people with the exact same income can land in completely different worlds, not because one got luckier, but because one let every raise inflate their life while the other did not. The high earner who creeps their lifestyle to the edge of their paycheck is often further from freedom than the modest earner who held their spending flat, because the modest earner has both a smaller mountain to climb and more money to climb it with. Income is the engine. The gap is the actual fuel. So here is the escape, and it is almost insultingly simple, which is why it works. You do not have to refuse every raise or live like nothing ever improves. The move is just this. The moment a raise arrives, before your lifestyle has a chance to absorb it, you split it. Send a fixed share, say half, straight into investments automatically, and let yourself enjoy the other half. The money you immediately divert never becomes part of your spending, so it never inflates your retirement number, and it goes to work compounding instead. You still get to feel the raise. You just refuse to let all of it quietly become a bigger mountain. The half you never see is the half that buys back your future. And see what that one reversal does. Instead of every raise pushing your retirement further away, every raise now pulls it closer. The exact same income, the exact same career, but the arrow points the opposite direction because you intercepted the money before the trap could. That is the whole difference between someone who earns well their entire life and retires anxious, and someone with the identical income who retires free. It was never the salary. It was whether each raise was allowed to creep. Let me make that concrete with 2 people because it is the whole lesson in one picture. Both start at the same job, the same salary, and over 15 years both climb the ladder and roughly double their income through a series of raises. The first one lets each raise breathe into his life. A little nicer car, a little bigger place, a few more subscriptions, nothing crazy, just keeping pace with success. The second one does one thing differently. Every time a raise lands, she immediately routes half of it into investments and lets the rest improve her life. Same starting point, same raises, same 15 years, but look at where they end up. The first one has a beautiful lifestyle and a retirement number that ballooned right alongside his spending. So despite doubling his income, he is no closer to freedom than the day he started, maybe further. The second one is living a life that is almost as nice, but she has a growing pile of investments and a retirement target that barely moved, because the half of each raise she diverted never became a bill she has to fund forever. 15 years of identical raises. One of them bought a lifestyle. The other quietly bought her freedom. And the only difference was a single decision about what to do in the half-second after each raise arrived. So step back and look at the raise you started with, the one that felt like progress. By itself, a raise is neither good nor bad for your future. It is just fuel. What decides everything is the half-second after it lands, whether it flows into a bigger life or a bigger gap. Let it become lifestyle, and it silently pushes freedom over the horizon while telling you that you are doing great. Intercept it, and the same raise becomes the thing that sets you free years early. The trap and the escape are the exact same dollar, pointed in two different directions. The bigger paycheck was never really the dream. The freedom it could buy, if you refuse to let it quietly leak into a life you will not even remember choosing. That was the dream. And that freedom has a price tag a lot closer to keeping half of every raise than to earning some enormous salary you will creep away anyway. The only thing standing between most people and an early, secure retirement was the belief that the way to get ahead was to spend like you already had. You never did. And now you know the math. If this changed how you think about one expensive thing you have been telling yourself you can't have, there are a lot more of these, the real math behind the life you actually want. Subscribe, and let's keep decoding it together.